Welcome. Another episode, Open Mat Chronicles, 1865 Rod here, black belt under Gustavo Enriquez, training out of Infinite Jiu-Jitsu, NorCal. As always, big shout out to NorCal. Schaefer, who are you? Why do we care?
My name is Harold Schaefer. I'm a black belt under John Hassett. I made the move to California about we're pushing 9 years now. Work under Gustavo Enriquez over at Infinite Jiu-Jitsu.
Enriquez.
Yeah, right?
Enriquez.
Gotta roll that R.
Yeah.
So, we out here doing the damn thing in NorCal. Loving it. Still teaching classes, still fighting.
Yep. 8 years? No, 8 years?
Over 8 years here now, yeah.
I've known you for a minute now, huh?
Yeah, long time, dude. Long time.
Okay, so I was thinking about this. Okay, so this is my idea because, we're both black belts. And I was thinking about how that really changes your game. Like, what does that do for you, like mentally, physically, everything? And I thought about, like, it could be a curse in one ways, but it could be a blessing too. So what are your thoughts on that, Harold? So like getting your black belt, what changes?
All right, I can dig it. Well, when you get your black belt, I think it can go a few different ways. The way it went for me, it was, initially overwhelming because you're like, oh shit, am I actually good enough? But then it's freedom. It's like, I'm not chasing after anything, I say it all the time that to me, a black belt should share the art, especially if you're going to be an instructor. Like, it's about sharing the art of jiu-jitsu. And I mean, dude, once I got it, I was like, all right, shit, I'm here.
So black belt equals freedom, basically, right? There is a level of freedom you achieve, right, or you attain when you get that black belt.
I think so. I mean, you're chasing belts, whether people want to admit it or not. Everybody's like,
oh, don't chase the belt.
Right, don't chase it. It just covers 2 inches of your ass, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. Fundamentally, that's true. But
that 2 inches is important.
Yeah, man, that 2 inches is important. It's like people join and they want to be recognized. They want to see progress. I think we spoke about that before. You want to see progress, and that's why they get the stripes. That's why they, the belt goes from white to blue to purple. You get it. But once you hit black belt, you're like, oh shit, that's a terminal belt. There is no belt higher than black belt. Even when they start slapping on all those additional colors and shit.
Or a belt.
Exactly. It's still just a black belt, right?
Yeah.
I say just a black belt, but
I know, really.
It's not just a black belt. It's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears.
A lot of injuries.
A lot of injuries. A lot of shit going down.
Meniscus injuries.
A lot of fights.
Blown knees.
A whole bunch of every damn thing. But people have to realize, right? You get this black belt, and more likely than not, you'll be a black belt longer than you've been any other belt. You'll be a black belt longer than all your belts combined. So what are you chasing at that? What do you chase as a black belt?
Bro, okay, so that this resonates with me because, like, that is the one thing for me, it's a little bit of a curse because, like, for me, I was really, really competitive coming up. Like, it's like, I think some of my best years are like purple belt. Like, I was really competitive. And I just noticed, when I got my black belt, maybe the first year I was still pretty good. But then after that, I just started like losing a little bit of drive to like try to beat everybody. It didn't really matter as much anymore. I was more towards, because I was already teaching. I started teaching at brown belt. So I was really kind of like shifting, some of my focus over to teaching instead of just trying to like, oh, I want to prove that I'm, I could do these moves. I could prove I could beat this guy. Because one of the best ways to show how your work really manifests itself is on the mats, right?
For sure.
Everything you learned, put it on the mat, and it should yield a positive result. You should be winning some fights if you're good, if you understand jiu-jitsu. And that's the only way that I really knew how to express that. It was like on the mats, right?
Right.
So like, hey, Gus, did you see me tap out this guy? Did you see this? Right? I don't do that anymore, obviously. I don't care about that. And so part of that, I don't know, man. Maybe my T levels are going down. I don't know. It's time to get on that gear, baby. I don't know, man.
Man, so I mean, I can
That's what I'm saying, though.
Relate. I can absolutely relate, right? Because almost like kids, right? Kids to their parents, they're like, look at me, look what I can do, right? You're doing it for yourself, but you also want other people to see it, right? I mean, check your ego at the door, learn to be humble, all that good shit. But we're still human beings, and we like to be seen. We like people to go, oh shit, that was smooth. Did you see how he hit that move? That was nice. So So a lot of times we'll do some stuff, and then in the corner of your eye, you kind of cut your eye to the side, like, damn, did they see that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this shit again. I'm gonna do it again just so they can see it next time. And you want your instructor to see it. You want them to be like, oh shit, okay, you're a good student. It's like, yeah, you good boy.
Yeah.
But once you hit that black belt, who are you doing it for?
Different. Yeah, it's different.
Right? Who are you doing it for? What's your motivation?
It's like, let's say you're rolling with a good blue belt. Let's say he's a tough blue belt, right? He could be legitimately a really good blue belt, and then you end up subbing him, whatever. Like, so what? You tapped out a blue belt. At the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, you tapped out a blue belt, right? So, and no matter what, so it's like, I'm just not driven. I'm not trying to sound cocky at all. Please don't take it that way. What I'm trying to say is I just try to just roll to enjoy the sport and just be competitive, give somebody a good roll, whether he's a white belt, a blue, purple, whatever, brown. Just maybe stay a little bit ahead of him, but not try to like, oh, I'm trying to win this roll. And then
you're not trying to crush it.
No. And sometimes you win it just organically. You're like, okay, you should win a lot of them because your skill is pretty good. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you just stalemate and it doesn't matter. To me, I don't even care.
For sure. Like if you're rolling and you're kind of just being smooth about it, you're not necessarily looking for the tap. Like, great example, you're rolling against a blue belt and you're like, okay, well, if by some weird chance this was a tournament setting and it's like, 2 men enter, 1 shall live, so if it's like that, sure, you jump on the mat, you slap hands, and you probably decimate them like in seconds. Your average guy, you're gonna smoke them. But that's not what you're here for. You're not here just to say, oh, I gotta destroy everything in my path, I'm like a fucking hurricane. You're just kind of chilling. You're like, I'm going to work with this guy or I'm going to work with this gal. I'm going to show some skill. I'm going to maybe fight just a little bit above their skill level just so we can have a good roll. We can break a sweat, we can chill. But then it's weird because you're fighting and then you're fighting in a really relaxed state.
Yeah.
And then, a lot of times you get these other ones. They're like, I got to get this black belt. I got to put this notch on my belt. So they're going balls to the wall. They're trying to give you the best that I got. Isn't it Anita Baker?
Good throwback. That's right. That was like late 90s, right? Early 90s.
So they're going at it and you're just kind of chilling. Yeah. You're like, man, like, I'm not even mad that you're coming at me crazy.
Yeah.
I feel good with this.
They're bringing it, though. Bringing it like smoke.
And you're not cutting your eye to your instructor going, hey, are you watching? Are you seeing? Because what else can he give you?
Yeah.
He can give you a dap. He's like, hey, man, good job. And hit you with the bow, the soul clap or something. But that's about it. He can't extra promote you. He's going to give you a stripe or something. He'll give you a gold star on your black belt. You're there, dude.
So are there roles that like really get you like, man, I'm competitive. Like, I really want to get this guy. Like, I haven't had that in a long time. Like, man, I really want to get this guy. I have not had that. Now I think, well, let me ask you first. Are there people that, that trigger that in you to where you're like, man, I want to get this guy?
Not as much anymore. I kind of would try to keep an eye out on the brown belts getting ready to promote.
Yeah, they bring it.
I'm like, all right, because they're going to bring the smoke, right?
Yeah,
they're like, they're right there.
Yeah,
so you're like, oh damn. You're like, okay, well, this guy's younger than me. He's in better shape than me. God damn, he's been doing it less time than me, obviously. So maybe I should be able to stay ahead. But then, man, then I'm like, I'm death matching a guy, but I really didn't want to death match anybody today.
Exactly.
I'm done death matching. I just want to drink some Coronas. I want to roll on the mat a little bit. I want to come on the podcast, talk shit. Like,
it's true. We're expressing our jiu-jitsu in different ways now.
Yeah, we're definitely expressing it in a different way.
That's why we do this podcast.
Yeah, and I don't knock people who are super competitive and are like, yo, yeah, I'm a black belt, but I need to be the best black belt.
Yeah.
Respect. Like, total respect for that, man. If you can be at the top of your game in your craft, in your art, God bless you. That's a hell of a thing, right? And, my boy, Joe Selecki, I always mentioned him, right? He just fought yesterday, and it's like, he's a monster. So, God bless him. He's out there doing a damn thing.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I think this is what would bring it out in me. This would be fun, like a good competitive role. Because like you said, a lot of the black belts you're going against they're either like 20, 30 years younger than you, to where it's like, man, like it's not an excuse, but it's like, it's still like, it matters, man. That does matter. I don't care. And then wait till these guys get to be, 60 years old. They're going to say, oh yeah, it does matter. They always see it my way when they finally reach this age. Right. But if I were to see somebody like maybe a black belt who was around my age, and something kind of like an even match, that would be really fun, man. I'd be really competitive in that sense. That would bring it out. You know what I mean? Even if Gus is not good, because Gus has been training for 30 years. Like, he's way better than I am, right? So it's not, even though we're similar age, right, he's still better than me.
Way more time on the mat.
Yeah.
So yes, I understand that.
You know where I'm going with that, right? Yeah. Imagine a Gus who started training, like he's been training for like 13 years, like me. Joe, I'll be bringing smoke, dude.
All right,
we're gonna see who wins that one.
Fun, right?
Heck yeah.
And then you can do that. Hell, you actually can't.
That would bring out my competitive side. I
was about to say you could do that in competition, but you really can't, because you're like 3-4 years in on your black. Right?
Yeah, I'm gonna be going against Gus.
Right, and
Terry Maxwell, this guy.
Right, you're still going against this guy. He's got a shit ton of time.
It's a weird
scenario. Same age, right?
Yeah, it's weird.
That's like what, I'm 47 or something like that. So I got like, you can have a guy my age, black belt. Cool. Now we're both black belts, right?
Yeah.
My age, my size, my everything, except he started when he was 6.
He started, yeah.
And
that's what you're getting nowadays.
I'm like, damn. And like, he teaches a school. He trains all the time. And I'm like, yo, I'm outclassed on this one. And I got to keep it real. So it's hard, man.
It's
unless you want to just stay on point.
Yeah.
I don't want to say you get lazy and lackadaisical, but you kind of do, because you're not chasing it quite as hard.
Yeah, and you shouldn't be. I don't think it's be normal to be chasing it that hard at that age. Like it would be like, you should have kind of gotten that out of your system. Like I said before in the other one, I said like competitions, all that, it's kind of for young people.
I feel you.
You know what I mean? Because you're in the peak of your physical, condition. And your body will do things that it maybe necessarily won't do as effectively as you get older. So it's fun to see young athletes going at it, because they can do all these amazing things. I really don't want to see 2 old guys. But what do you say? What do they say? It looked like 2 dads fighting for joint custody over the kids.
Like, the only time I really would want to see 2 old guys fighting.
It's not just exciting.
There is an exception to that. If we're talking some old school, top of the line, top tier guys. If you're talking like, all right, it's the match of the century, it's going to be Henzo versus whoever.
Yeah,
Sakuraba.
They're
right. Like, we're going to out of retirement. But I mean, hell, man, everybody's damn near crippled at this point in time, right? It's like, this will beat you up. This stuff beats you up. But
like, think about it. This is no diss, but like, think about it. Would you want to see Hoist Gracie competing right now in a match? It wouldn't be as exciting.
No,
I'd like to see him for nostalgia reason, but I don't want to see him now. Like, I don't want to see an old version of him. I want to remember him the way he was in 1993, just murdering everybody.
I want to see him as the legend that he is.
Yeah,
I want him to be there and like to wave to the crowd like the Pope, and go out there, maybe teach a couple of cool moves. And I'm sure on the mat, he's still probably a beast.
He'll bring it. Oh yeah, I'm sure.
But come on, is he beating Kron? Is he beating all these young cats who are also black belts?
Exactly.
No, and he's not supposed to.
He's not supposed to.
He's not supposed to, man. The young lion at some point in time is going to overtake the old lion.
Yeah,
it has to be that way. You know what I mean? Rarely will you have an exception to that. I mean, hell no, ultimately, you will not have an exception to that.
Father Time.
Yeah, man.
For no man.
Exactly, right? They say it's the wall. The wall's undefeated, man. Everybody hits the wall at some point in time.
Hey, man, we don't hit a wall. We do hit a wall, but we hit our wall is late in life.
But I'm talking a competitive.
You know what I'm going with that.
I know. I'm talking about a competitive
the wall is undefeated.
I'm talking about,
that wall can come early sometimes.
How long can you be the ass kicker that you are? And you
still
are an exception. I said this before. You are still an ass kicker at 60, whereas
I got a little
You
time
got guys 20 years younger than you who are like, yo, I'm hanging this shit up.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I seen guys blow out at like in their 30s. You know, oh man, I blew my
Absolutely.
MCL or
So
whatever.
you're the exception to the rule. And you
Yeah.
know what I say, when you're dealing with exceptions to the rule, if it's a statistical insignificant number, I don't even fucking count it.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not the norm.
Yeah.
You are abnormal in a good way.
Oh, that's good. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah, take that. In a good way. In a good way. So the other thing about black belt, right? You're not chasing these stripes again because you're not looking for like that recognition to get to the next level, because there is no next level.
Yeah.
Your stripes come with time. Now, are we preaching to the choir? Probably, but maybe somebody watching this is going to go, "Oh shit, I didn't know that." Yeah, man, like your stripes on your black belt, they come as long as you're still active.
Yeah.
And you put the time in. It's like every 3 years, and then
is it 3 years?
It's 3 years for like the first 3, and then I think it's 5 for the next 2, and it's like 7. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But I mean, like, I think shit, I'm pushing on like my 3rd stripe next year, I think, right? But I stay active in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I would actually like to try to get back to Jersey to have my instructor actually put the stripe on me. The last time he called me, he's like, all right. He's like, at exactly this time, I want you to put a stripe on your black belt. Nice. I was like, dude, that's cool. I appreciate it. You know, because, you know, it's nice when your instructor remembers you and he's like, hey, man, it's that time. It's that time, boy. You did a damn thing. So congratulations. Keep the party going.
So what about good things? Because that's all the only negative I could think of, and it's not even really a negative. It's just the way that life goes in that direction, right? So it's not a negative. But the positives I would say are, as a black belt, I'm keeping 100, dude. I ain't doing warm ups, man. I don't do. I don't do warm ups. I haven't done a warm ups.
You can barely get a purple belt. You can't even get a purple belt to come to a damn warm up.
No, you do get a level of freedom in the school, and you can kind of do, especially if you're teaching. Now, if you're not teaching, then maybe it's going to be a little bit different. But if you're teaching, you could definitely have a little bit more leeway to kind of do what you want. And then it's cool too when you teach. You can teach what you want. You know.
That, I think, is also just dependent upon the school and the culture of your school.
Yeah.
Some people do a bunch of warm ups. They run around. They do backflips and shit. And I told you, my school was always do a light roll. Like we didn't do a bunch of CrossFit and shit before we started rolling. We said, hey man, come in, stretch a little bit, slap hands, roll around, you know, don't hurt each other because we got a whole class we have to do after.
Exactly. Yeah.
But, man, just do some light warm up rolls. And again, I did that for 13 years prior to coming out here. Yeah. And then it was like, oh shit, now I got to run around in circles too.
I know. That's actually a good point, because I know some schools, they focus on warm-ups too much, like too much conditioning. They basically try to do like half the class is conditioning. I'm like, yo, man, I hit weights. I deadlift like 400 pounds, bro. I'm doing weights like 3 days a week. I'm like, I'm already conditioned. I don't need to do this to supplement my conditioning.
But a lot of people join and they don't condition. So this would be the only conditioning they would actually do.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. So are you catering to the masses, right? Most people aren't doing anything, so you're going to give them a little conditioning. So that makes sense.
So you're the exception to the rule in that one too.
Yeah.
So that means, hey, fucking sit on the sideline, chill.
Yeah.
Drink yourself a margarita and shit while you wait or something.
I still try to do it though. I want to say, man, if I could do it, you could do it, young cat.
Which is
do like 50 sit-ups. Awesome. Like, come on, man, you can do it. It's not that hard.
Yeah, it's hard for some people, dude.
Really?
Yes.
You know, it's so weird. I just can't picture that.
You can't.
I know it's weird because I've been working out my whole life.
Right, but then that's like somebody going, "Hey, man, I just understand how all this technology shit works."
Exactly. I can't picture you working.
You're like, the fuck? He's like, how do you do this? And
okay,
like,
boomer.
Yeah. Okay, boomer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, look, we all have our talents, I guess. You know. So as you're getting striped up in your black belt, it's just, man, I think a lot of people get to the point where it's just just share the art.
Yeah.
Just share the art. You always going to have some guys who are like, I'm going to every black belt damn competition there is because I'm going to be the best hobbyist black belt on earth. And it's like, all right, cool, man. I mean, keep those competitive, keep the competitive juices going. Go out, do the damn thing. That's awesome. Um, really, everyone's going to have to figure it out for themselves, which I hate that because I like to be able to speak in generalities and give people a broad overview
Yeah.
of what it should be. But I mean, black belt is it's very individualistic. But I mean, I guess there has to be some common traits. The common traits are you don't quit. The common traits are
Yeah.
that you're willing to persevere and fight through fucking years to get there. But then when you get there, how you manage it is different.
You should have a certain level of proficiency. You should be able to tell this guy's a black belt, right? It doesn't mean you're going to beat everybody, but you should be able to, know the basic moves. I'd say know a lot of the advanced moves. You should know most things.
I shouldn't be like,
essentially.
hey man, can you teach a scissor sweep class today? And you go, ooh,
Got it.
shit. But you're right.
Yeah.
But if he goes, oh damn,
Oh man,
I don't know, man. Let me see. I'm gonna have to go do a refresher for blah blah.
Look up on YouTube.
Yeah, let me YouTube that shit. Then we could be having a problem.
Yeah,
right.
You
Then
should
we
be able
could
to
have
teach a
problem.
basic class
You
of
should
pretty
be
much
able
any move.
and damn near off the top of your head.
Yeah.
Like, but here's the other problem with some black belts. They're not instructors. They know how to fight. They don't know how to stand in front of a group of
That's
people
true,
and command a room.
And it doesn't take away from their belt, in my
And
opinion.
it does not because
So legit.
you go one-on-one and you're like,
Yeah,
oh
you
shit,
don't bring
this
it.
some bitch is folding me up.
Yeah.
So it's
Some
like
people just do not like to teach.
some people don't like to teach, man. Hell, public speaking is one of the scariest things. That is actually, statistically speaking, public speaking is scarier than death for most people.
Wow.
Now, that's crazy to me.
Is it
But
really?
yes.
Wow.
More people are afraid of public speaking than dying.
So I would say if you are afraid of public speaking, start teaching. That'll be a good little way
Hell
because you're
yeah.
comfortable in your own little. Because I think most people are afraid of public speaking because they don't want to sound stupid because they don't know what they're talking about.
Right?
If it's jujitsu and you're a higher belt and you know what you're talking about,
know it.
you're gonna be fine. Just start
Hell yeah.
teaching, get used to doing it a little bit, and it's a good way to kind of at least segue into public speaking.
And start with a kids class.
Yeah.
Man, if you're up there, if you're starting to move up into belts, offer to teach a class here and there. Offer to say, hey, can I come in and teach a couple of the kids classes? And it doesn't even have to be a kids class.
I never did kick class.
Yeah, see, I did. I actually enjoyed the kids class. They were fun.
Oh,
Like some of the parents were like,
oh,
you're very militaristic with these children. I'm like, get up! Don't you fucking dare do it.
Oh my god.
But if not a kids class,
Teens, at least teens or something.
right? Or how's
No,
hey,
adults.
listen, can I teach an adult class, maybe the white belt class,
Fundamental class.
Yeah, fundamental. Like especially if you're hitting that purple brown, about to get your black, at least try to teach because sharing the art, I believe it is very fulfilling. Like I just taught a class Friday, you taught a class Wednesday,
Yeah.
and they're enjoyable, man. Like people come to our classes, they have a good time.
They love it.
I've never seen anybody leave my class and go, this is so bullshit.
Yeah, you know why they like it? I think it's because we show everything. Like there's a lot of people don't want to show all their moves.
Yeah, I don't hide shit.
Yeah, I don't hide anything either, man. I show everything. Even when I'm rolling, if I catch something, like I'm gonna show you how I got that next time. So when we're done, like I'm probably not gonna catch on you again, but so be it. I'll have to dig deeper and get something else,
Yeah,
because I don't want to hold people back just for my ego.
Right, because if I can show you something that made you better,
Yeah.
man, that means a lot to me. Like
Yeah.
that is what I'm here for as a black belt. Like I want you to do better.
Exactly.
Do I want to be better too? Sure, I do. I mean, to a point, you know what I mean? Like I'm not willing to give up everything else to try to be the best that I can be. Like I don't remember back in the day, this is how they got me. They're like, be all that you can be.
I remember that. Yeah.
Well, that's how the fuck I joined the Army.
It was a Marines,
It was
right?
the Army.
Oh, it was the Army?
Be all that you
Army
can
Strong.
be. Hell yeah. Well, no, Army Strong came
That's
way after me. So,
okay.
But back in the 80s, it was be all you can be.
I do remember.
And then I freaking joined up so I could be all I could be. I'll shoot machine guns and shit. It was awesome. But now, I ain't trying to be all I can be. I'm trying to chill. I'm trying to just hang out, bullshit with you, maybe hit the bar every now and again, do some drop Cyanagis on some people, they were like, what the fuck was that?
Let me ask this. Okay, so think about this, right? Okay, so you've been training for all these years. Do you think in let's say 10 years, I'm gonna go way up there,
Okay.
add a decade on, how much better is your jiu-jitsu really gonna be?
It's going to be worse.
Okay, no, that's your game. But your jujitsu, do you think your jujitsu will really be that much? Like, is it
Will I get some new move that no one's ever seen? Hell no. There's nothing new under the sun. I mean, listen, the human body can only move in as many positions as it can move in, right?
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. You can do a certain amount of shit with your body, and then that is all.
You know what?
And yeah.
So you know what I got that from? I remember the guy's name now. It's what's the guy's name? Oh, now I forgot. But it's Common Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay.
Ryan Young. Is it Ryan Young?
I know who you're talking about.
Look, he's legit. I like that guy. Yeah. I like his videos. So go check out. I think it's Ryan Young, Common Jiu-Jitsu. He's got some really good content. Shout out to Ryan Young. But anyway, he says, your game is basically it's your physicality. He has a whole video on this. It's your physicality plus your technique equals your game. And I'm telling you, man, that formula that he uses is just accurate like 99% of the time. So basically, I'll give you an analogy. You got a guy who's, let's say you got a black belt who's like 130 pounds.
Right.
Okay. So, but let's say he's not a strong guy. Let's say he's a weaker guy. He's not strong.
But his jiu-jitsu
is tight, right? So physicality, he's just like, and not that you could be 130 and be an 8 in physicality, but let's just say this particular guy, he's a 5. Right, but his jiu-jitsu is a 10. Ooh. So he says that's a 15. So your game is a 15. But now you take another guy. Now you take maybe a guy who's been training for like a year. His jiu-jitsu is maybe a 5 or a 3. Let's say he's a 3.
Yeah, 3.
A 3. But his physicality is a 10. Let's say he's like 250 or 260. He's 13. So if you were to put those two up, the black belt will win probably, but it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a fight. Right? At some point, it's hard to overcome that. So what happens is, like you have to, your technique can only get so good. It can only get so good. You just can't keep getting better and better. And then you're fighting the physicality, right? So your technique starts coming up, but then your phicality goes down. So you're gonna like flatline basically.
Well, that's why I think about it. We saw the transition from, we were talking about this earlier. Some of these smaller, frailer guys doing jiu-jitsu, which is what it was originally for, right?
Yeah.
Well, they can't hold a freaking candle to a guy who's freaking jacked and learns the exact same shit as them. They're way stronger, way faster. That physicality, it makes a huge difference. You know what I mean? So it's like, learn it, get your technique up. But that's like the people go, hey man, if you want to do better at jiu-jitsu, just do jiu-jitsu.
That used to be the thing.
That's not the truth anymore, man.
Yeah, not anymore.
You better be freaking putting some strength in there too.
We're gonna have some gear, everything. Come on, man. We all know they're doing. We all know
that route. Listen,
but they all are at that level, though.
If you're making money off of it, do what you got to do.
Do what you got to do. Yeah. You own a school or something like that, or you get breaks if you own a school, you run a school, you're competing on a regular basis for that.
Feed your family.
Yeah. You get
what you got to do.
You get a break.
But if you're just that regular guy, you're an accountant by day, or you're
a hobbyist,
you're a hobbyist, you drive a trash truck, what I mean, you're chilling. You're like, man, I'm gonna come home, I'm gonna chill for a little bit, drink a couple beers, do some push-ups, I'm gonna go do some jiu-jitsu. I'm gonna choke my friends.
Beat up everybody.
Beat everybody's ass.
We're way off topic. We don't know what
I'm saying. This is the thoughts of a black belt.
This is
like, what am I gonna do? Oh, I'm going to go choke somebody today.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I've had that thought many a times. That's usually what gets me up and going. I'm like, well, I'm going to go out there and beat a couple people up, and then we're going to have some laughs. Then I'll teach some cool moves, and hopefully somebody will learn something from me today. And hopefully I won't go too light against this spazzy white belt and get my damn front teeth kicked out.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what you got to be careful. They always say don't roll hard. I got injured rolling too light. The last 3 injuries was going too light. Yeah. Okay, I got to crank it up a little bit.
Hell yeah. Well, that's another curse of the black belt, right?
Yeah.
If you want to teach, you have to dial down your skill level.
Yeah.
If you're going to roll with the people. But as you're dialing down that skill level, you might get to that tipping point where, you dialed it down a little too much.
Yeah.
And now you just got your
caught
ass
up in
something. Because he grabs that Kimura, grip it and rip it, boom.
Yeah.
And you're like, he would have never even got that move on me had I not just slowed down and kind of left my arm dangle like, hey, here's the bait.
Like purple belt version of me was like T-Rex every roll, like 100% out point, like you ain't getting nothing on me.
Then you stick something out and then it gets cut off and you're like, holy shit.
No, my God,
I didn't expect that.
I slap hands. I'm all this. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I know.
All right, we're good.
Man, maybe we should do like a 1 month of balls to the wall.
Shark Tanks. We got to do more Shark Tanks.
Yeah, just like
that's where you bring it. That's a good one too. On Shark Tank, I'll bring it up.
Man,
maybe we do more Shark Tank.
But how are you going to feel though when you start like just massacring white belts?
But it's Shark Tank. It's okay.
Man,
you get a pass on Shark Tank.
Damn.
It's only like you just have to sweep them or submit them.
I guess, man.
That's a full roll, right? So you just you hit them real quick.
That's like when Anakin Skywalker was fighting the younglings, man. They were out there. So I know you're not a big Star Wars guy, but right before he became Darth Vader, he went into the school, and like all the little kids in the school were like, "What should we do, Master Anakin?" They thought he was like, well, yeah, pretty much. They thought he was going to help them, and then he pops out that lightsaber. Yeah, boy, he got loose on them little kids.
Yeah, I remember that. That was actually it.
I'm not saying beat up the kids class.
No, don't beat up the kids.
I mean,
well, can you beat the kids?
Man, I'll beat up the kids class. Some of those kids in the kids class, man, they're tough. We're moving them to the adult class. It's crazy.
We got one kid who's like just freakishly strong. What is he like? How old is that kid? He's like 16 or no, he's 14 or something.
He's not old enough to be a blue belt yet.
No, but he's built like a man, dude, and he's strong. He's like just like he grabs you like, oh my god, dude,
and he pays attention, and
he's good too. He's pretty solid, yeah.
Really
like you will underestimate that kid.
And see,
anyone would.
Here would be my problem. I'm like, hey man, I'm just here to share the art. I'm gonna teach.
Yeah. Next thing you know, you're raw.
Oh shit! Yeah. What did you do to me? And I'm like, what? Yeah. Where'd you even learn this? And he'd be like, Rod taught it. That explains.
Wait, coming from the man who taught Wristlocks last Friday.
Ooh, yeah, dude, that shit was a great class.
And you know what's funny? Because right before that, what did we talk about? We talk about
quick kills.
Quick kills. And then you gotta go and show all these white belts Wristlocks. Just undid everything we did. It's okay. It was ugly.
Dude, it was so ugly.
It's all bad. Now I got all these white belts trying to wristlock me. So
no, just keep your shit together,
just expect it from anyone. So that is the good thing about that. All right. So how to wrap this up? Okay, black belt. Get your black belt. It's the best thing in the world. It is the best. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Getting a black belt. Ultimately, all that stuff about not wanting to roll. That's all in your own head. I can work through that. It's nothing. But ultimately, getting the black belt is way more important. I think it's an accomplishment.
It is.
Don't quit.
It's one of the higher stepping stones, but it is still just a stepping stone. You know what I mean? Your first stepping stone is to take off whatever brown leather belt was normally holding up your pants, at work, and slapping on that white belt. That's a hard freaking belt to go, but that's stepping stone one. And then you just work your way through. That black belt, it's a stepping stone, but it's a huge one. It's a high one, right? Yeah. You're up there and you're like, cool, man. I accomplished some shit.
Yeah.
You're usually looking at 10 years. You're looking at like 10 years of your life or more. And that's a hell of a commitment. That's putting in a lot of time. That's a lot of time away from, work, friends, family. That's injuries. That's all kinds of shit. And once you get it, you should be proud of yourself.
Yeah.
You should be proud of yourself. And then you have to figure out what's next, because now you don't really have anybody pointing you in a direction anymore.
It's no more immediate goal.
Right. And it's
hanging over your head.
You're not the student.
Yeah.
You're the teacher. You are a master at JiuJitsu. Wow, that sounds crazy, right? But that's what it is. I mean, a black belt is a mastery of your art.
Yeah.
That's for any martial art. I mean, so if you are that guy or gal, then you have to start thinking about what's next. What's next? How am I going to do this?
Yeah. How do you evolve your game?
Still evolve, yeah.
Winning everybody in there. There's more to it than that. There's different ways you can go about improving in your your jiu-jitsu journey.
Absolutely, and
still beat people up.
Yeah, beat
people up still.
Oh, always beat people up. Listen, yeah, when in doubt, punch them in the throat. I live by that. But then also keep in mind, you got it, but time did not stop. You are still going to get older. You are going to break down over time. All things do. But you're still a black belt.
Still black belt.
You don't get to give it back. You are a black belt. Now you're like, oh, man, it took me 10 years to get here. Damn, I've been a black belt for 10 years. Oh, shit. I'm at year 13, 20. I've been a black belt for 20 years now. I've been a black belt for 30 freaking years. I was only 10 years since white, from white to black. You're going to eclipse the amount of time that it took you to get there, but you're still going to be a black belt. People are still going to look at you and go, well, you're a black belt. You should know
exactly.
This. You should be able to do this. Help me, show me, teach me something. And you should. Share the art.
Teach me.
The old wise one. You know?
Yep.
And you should be able to teach because it should be important to you. And if it's important to you, you'll find a way. And if it's not, you'll find an excuse.
On that, we put a bow on it. Close this out. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Mainly share it. Sharing it is the best way. Share it to your buddies.
Scary.
Yeah, it is. Let's
Sharing
get it
is
going.
scary.
All right, everybody. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Have a good one.